Hello everyone, my name is Arohi and welcome to my channel. So guys, in my today's video I'll explain you how to perform image captioning using CNN and RNN architectures. So image captioning is the task of generating text description for an image, and to perform image captioning two steps are needed. First step is to extract the features from the image using CNN network. And once you extract the feature, next step is to generate a caption for that image on the basis of those extracted features, and for that we will use RNN network. By combining these two architectures, we can create a powerful model for image captioning. So let's understand the architecture of this model. So there are two main components, CNN encoder and RNN decoder. Let's understand them one by one. First, we are starting with the CNN encoder. So this CNN encoder is responsible for extracting features from the input image. You can see this input image is first getting converted to tensor because PyTorch accepts the data in the form of tensor only, and for our today's tutorial we are going to run this code on PyTorch framework, so we need to convert the input into a tensor. Once you convert the input into a tensor, next step is this CNN network. Our image will be passed through this CNN network in order to extract features. And guys, please note that the final layer is not a classification layer. Okay, why this is not a classification layer? Why we are not using a classification layer over here? Because for this image captioning project, we don't need a classification layer. We only need this CNN network to extract feature. Okay, once we extract the feature, we are flattening those features, and after that we are using a embedding layer to get the embedded features like this. This will be the input to this network CNN encoder, and this CNN encoder will give you this output. This is an embedded vector. Before moving to the decoder part, let's understand the code of encoder only, and then we'll move to the decoder. So guys, for my today's tutorial, you need to clone this GitHub repo. The code which I'm going to use in my today's class is present in this repo. And now let me show you how to set up the environment first in order to run this code. So first thing is prompt, enter in the drive where your code is. So my code is in D drive. Here you can see I have a code in this D drive, and in this D drive I have this folder. Inside that, this is my cloned repo. Okay, I am entering in this folder. Here I have created the environment. You can create an environment like this, and then you have to activate it, and for activating you will write this. Now you can see that the environment is activated. Let's check the version of Python. For this tutorial I'm using this Python version, and now let's see the version of PyTorch. So for that, write Python and then import torch. Once you import the torch, just write torch dot underscore underscore version, and you can see that the torch version is 2.2.1 and it is compiled with CUDA. Now let's check the GPU which I'm using. So I'm using RTX 4080 GPU for this. While installing PyTorch, you have to be sure that what is the CUDA version installed on your PC or laptop. Check the CUDA version, and then as per that CUDA version, you have to download the PyTorch version, and you can download the PyTorch version from the official website. Let's open that. Just write download PyTorch and open this first link. You will be redirected to this page, and scroll down. Here you can see that by default the version they will show you is this 2.3, and it is working with CUDA and for Windows. So if you are using Linux machine, you will select this, And finally over here, on the basis of the selections which you make over here, on the basis of that you will get a command over here. Just copy this command and then you have to paste this command on the command prompt and you can install the version. Okay, so this is how I have installed. So let's say if you don't want to use the latest version, as in my tutorial I'm not using the latest version, so just click on this previous versions of PyTorch. And from here you can pick the version. So if you are a Linux or a Windows user and if you want to work with CUDA 11.8 and if you are working on Anaconda, then you can pick this command. And if your CUDA version is 12.1 and you're working on Anaconda, then you'll use this one. And if you don't have GPU and you're testing this code on CPU, then and if you're using Anaconda, then you can install this command. Okay, so in my case I'm not using Anaconda, so in that case, and my CUDA version is this, I want to install with the help of pip, and this is the version. Let's say if you want to install, just copy this command from here and then go to the command prompt, just paste that command over here like this and you can install it. Okay, now I've shown you the versions of PyTorch and Python. In the same way, these are the other requirements, so you need to install all these requirements one by one. These requirements are also present in requirements.txt file, and you can also install all these requirements using this requirements.txt file, and for that you just need to run this command. So when you'll hit enter after writing this command, so all the requirements which are present in your requirements.txt file, those will be you'll get them installed in this environment. So this is how you can create your environment. So now let me show you the code of encoder. This is the code of encoder. First I have imported all the required modules and then I have created this class. That's it. In this we have this init constructor which takes this embed size parameter. What is this embed size parameter? This parameter is important because image will be mapped to the embedding vector. Remember while making you understand the architecture in the CNN part, I've told you like this is the input image, this is the input image, and it will create a embedding vector like this. Okay, so this embed size tells like how many different values you want to have in that embedding vector. So this embed size, let's suppose if I'm writing embed size is equal to 512, that means whenever you'll provide an input image to it, so this CNN encoder will generate embedding vector, and that embedding vector will have those 512 different values. Okay, so this is what embed size is, and this init constructor have this one parameter. After that, here you can see I am not training a model over here, guys. What we are doing is we are not training the CNN model to extract feature, because there are already available models are there, like pre-trained models. So here we are using this ResNet 50 pre-trained model, which is trained on ImageNet dataset, and we are just importing that model and extracting the features. So this is how we do that, right? And after that, this requires underscore grad underscore this false. So this freezes the weight of ResNet model so that they won't be updated during training. We are not training a ResNet, right? Because we are using this CNN model as a feature extractor. And in this line, we are removing the last layer of the ResNet model, which is the fully connected layer, which is used for classification. So we don't want the classification layer, so that's why we are removing it. After that, these layers are passed through this nn.sequential to create a new sequential module. Then in this self.embed, over here we are adding a embedding layer. So guys, remember, look at this architecture. Final layer is embedding layer, which will create a embedding vector. So that's what we are doing over here in self.embed. nn.linear, this will give you a embedding vector. The input to this is this. What is this? This part, resnet.fc.in underscore features. What it is the number of feature output by the last layer of the ResNet. Okay, so this will become the input to this nn.linear layer, and here we are converting an embedding vector, and output size of this will be the embed size, this embed size which we have defined over here. And then we have a forward function. So guys, in this forward function, images are input to this forward function. First, those images will be passed through the ResNet model. This ResNet model will extract the features. Then we have this features.view, and here features, what is this features? The value which we are getting from here. The output of the previous layer will become the input to the next layer. So this is the input to this, and what we are doing here is we are flattening those features because we want to create the embedding vector. So for that we need to flatten those feature maps. So that's what we are doing over here. Then we have this layer here, we are creating a embedding vector, and finally we will get the features as embedding vector. Okay, so this is the class. Now let's see the implementation. I'll show you the implementation of this class on single image. Here I'm testing this encoder class on a single image. So I'm reading the image first, I'm opening the image like this, and then I'm applying some transformations on it. Now why I'm applying this transformation? Because here I have told you that we are using this pre-trained ResNet model, and this is the paper of this pre-trained ResNet model which I am importing over here. And in this paper they have used these specific transformations, so that's why I thought to go with these specific transformations only. And after that, here the embed size 256. Remember guys, this embed size. So the embed size I'm giving is 256, and then I'm calling the encoder CNN class, and I'm providing this embed size 256. So guys, what this embed size 256 means? That means that all the images which we will provide to our encoder CNN network, for all the images we want to have an embedding vector of size 256. So let's say if you are providing 100 images to your encoder CNN model, the output of that will be 100 embedding vectors, and those 100 embedding vector, each embedding vector will have 256 different values. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you now. We are calling the encoder class, then we are moving the encoder to the CUDA because we are working on GPU, and then here we are moving the image tensor to GPU also, because if your model is on GPU and then your image should be on GPU. So that's what I'm doing over here. And after that, here you can see the output of our model. See, the first output after 0, 1, what it is, these are the different layers. And here you can see we are working on a single image, so that's why we have 1 over here. 64 means 64 feature maps and of size 112 into 112. Okay, so and second, after the second layer, this is what you have, and this is how you'll scroll down, and the final feature vector shape would be this 1 and 256. 1 and 256. What it means is, this is the detailed feature vector for single image, so that's why 1, and we have defined the embed size is equal to 256. So this one image have these, we have a feature vector for it, and it has 256 values. Now let's print the output, this output, let's print it. So this is the values, these are the 256 different values we have for that single image. Okay, so this will be the output of your encoder CNN, and this will become the input to the decoder. Now let me show you, as I've told you that for one image, after this first step, you will get 64 feature maps of this size. Now let's see these 64 feature maps. You see, these are the feature map. Okay guys, let me show you the image also, the image which we are working on, which is this. So this is the image we have given to our model. and for this image it created these feature maps, and these are the 64 feature maps. Okay, so this is how your encoder work. Now let's move to the next step. So guys, before moving to the decoder part, it's important to understand the dataset also. So now let's see the dataset first, and then we'll move to the decoder part. So the dataset which I'm using for our today's class is COCO dataset. So let's open the COCO dataset. So open this first link, and just here under this dataset, go to this download, and you'll be redirected to this page, and here you can see the images, and here you can see the annotations. So from here you can see 2017 train images in the size is 18 GB, and 2017 validation images, and this is the size. So this and this I have downloaded, and then from this side I have downloaded the annotations. So let me show you the dataset, how to organize it once you download it from here, where to place it, and what should be the directory structure of the dataset. So here I have the dataset, this COCO API, create one folder. So guys, this is my code, and outside this code I have this COCO API folder. This folder I have created myself. You also create a folder with this name, and inside that create two folders, images and annotations. Inside images I have placed the two folders, train 2017 and val 2017, which I have got from here, this train images and val images. Okay, so this I have placed there, and under this annotations, these are the annotations you want. Captions, these are the captions for training data, these are the captions for validations data. So this is just used for object detection. These are optionals. You can leave these two JSON files if you don't want to use it. Okay, so these two are mandatory, because we want to create the captions for the images, and for that we will train our model to do that task. So whenever we want to train image captioning model, so we will provide the dataset in a pair, means the image and the corresponding annotation. Okay, so how many training images we have? Let's go to here, train 2017. You can see the total count of the images is this, and if we have these many images, so every image will we will feed every image with its corresponding annotation as a pair to the model. So let's open the annotation file and see. So these are the annotations. First we have the detail of the images. Just scroll down. Here you can see this is, let's say for this image ID we have this caption. So in the same way, in this JSON file we have the captions for all the training images which are present in train 2017 folder. Okay, so this is how your dataset looks like, and after pasting your data like this, now let's explore this dataset a little bit. Let's try to understand this dataset. So for that you can see here I'm importing all the required modules. After that, so this is the transformation we want to apply on our dataset. So what this transformation is, so guys, remember I've told you that we are using the ResNet 50 pre-trained model which is based on this paper. So here we have written the transformations which are defined in that paper. After that, this vocab threshold. Now what this vocab threshold value is? This vocab underscore threshold equals to 5. Now what it is? So this is the minimum number of times a word must occur in the training dataset for it to be included in the vocabulary. Then we have this batch size 10, and then this is the path of our dataset. Okay, so the COCO API folder which I've shown you. Okay, and here we are writing a few lines to load the dataset. And which data set we are loading over here? We want to load the training data set, and on that data set we want to perform this transformations which we have defined here. What are the transformations? We are resizing it to this, and then we are performing random crop on it. We are performing this random horizontal flip. We are converting all the images to a tensor, and then we are normalizing that data set. Okay, so batch size we have defined here, vocab threshold we have defined here, and then vocab from file equals to false. Right now it is false. Now let's understand what is this vocab from file. So vocabulary means, now as I've shown you the captions over here, we have seen the captions here, right? So this vocabulary means how many unique words are present in your data set and in the captions, right? So we have a file, we have created one separate file, and in that file we have written that what all unique words are there. Okay, let me show you that file. Here you will see a file with this name, vocab.pkl, pickle file. So in this file we have a list of unique words which are there in our data set. And just to show you the output, I have created a txt file also, just to show you what kind of data and how we organize this pickle file I have created here. In this text file you can see, now you will see that each word is assigned like this. This 0 is the ID for start, and here like this. For A you will see a 3. In whenever we want to work in deep learning, so deep learning understand numbers, not alphabets, so we always need to convert our data set in numbers. Whether it is image, we convert images into numbers. In the same way, when you are working on a text data set, we convert our text data set also in numbers. So there are some unique IDs we provide to each string. So this vocab file shows you which ID is assigned to which this string. So here vocab from file means right now it is false, but later on we will provide the name vocab.pkl, pickle file over here. So that simply means we want to pick the vocabulary which is present in this file, and this is the path of our data set. We are providing that. So once you load the data set here, now I'm showing you a simple example how we work in natural language processing. So let's say you have this sentence, and we have this sentence stored in this variable. Now first we are using this NLTK, we are tokenizing this sentence, and first we are converting the sentence into lowercase, and then we are tokenizing it, and this kind of output you'll get. See, every single word is in we have tokenized it, and this whole sentence is in this lowercase. Now let's convert this sentence into those IDs, because as I've told you that this if you want to perform natural language processing, so your model will not understand what it is, so you have to convert them into numbers or some sort of IDs. So this will be the ID for this sentence, and here you will see this 0 means every time when you will work, the start word will be this, and from here we have the sentence. See, what is the first word? A, and the ID of A is 3. Let's go back here and see. The ID for A is 3, and then we have 145. Why we are having 145 over here? Because this is the ID for person. In the same way, we are getting the ID for each word which is written over here. And how we are getting these numbers for these words? Because we have created vocab.pickle file, and from there we are fetching it. Okay, and then here I'm just showing you the first 10 different words and their corresponding IDs. So these are the first 10 values of it, And now if you want to see how many unique words are there in our vocabulary, okay, so guys, before showing you that, right now just see, our vocab threshold value is 5. That means if the word is appearing for 5 times at least, then we will add it in our vocabulary, otherwise we will not add it in our vocabulary. And when our vocab threshold value is 5, at that time, if we print how many tokens or unique words we have in our vocabulary, when the vocab threshold value is 5, you will see this 10,321. Now guys, if we reduce this vocab threshold value, what will happen? Let's say now we set the vocab threshold value is 4. That means that if any word which is appearing minimum 4 times, right, in the data, then we will count it in our vocabulary, otherwise not. So this time you will have a higher number, okay. So because we have the threshold value we have assigned over here is less, so just we are again loading the data. This time with this threshold value, we want to load the vocabulary. With this threshold value, we are loading the data set, and then we are checking the vocabulary size, and this time you have this vocabulary 11,543. So this is the higher number. Now we have more unique words as compared to the previous one where we were using the vocab threshold value 5. So I hope this part is clear. Now in this cell, I'm showing you when we are saying that we, for every image we have a caption, right? So now we will check how many, what is the length of that caption. So in our data set, these many images are there in our data set which have the sequence length or a caption length is 10. So most of the captions which we have in our data set have the sequence length 10, and then this is the count for the images where the caption length is 11. So from this count we can see that maximum captions in our data set are of length 10, sequence length 10, okay. So why I have told you this, because in some time when we are going to work with decoder, over there we have to define one parameter, like what sequence length we want to use, okay. So that sequence length means the length of the caption, how many different words are there in a caption. So this is just for your knowledge that in our data set maximum captions are of sequence length 10 and 11. Now let's move to the decoder part. So this is our decoder. The input to RNN decoder is the output of the CNN encoder, which is the embedding vector, and the size of that embedding vector is 256. Now what is RNN? What RNN does? So RNN generates a sequence of words that describe the image, and it uses a recurrent neural network such as LSTM to generate the sequence. So this RNN decoder is trained to predict the next word in the sequence given the previous words as shown in this image. So this every vertical layer over here in this picture is trying to predict the next word, and this first layer will take the embedding image and embedded image, and it will predict the start, and then the man is predicted, and so on. So first we are importing all the required modules, and this is the encoder class which I have explained to you. Now in the next cell we have written the code for decoder class, this. Now let's understand this. So first we are defining a class named decoder RNN, and which inherits from this nn.module, okay. This is a base class for all neural network modules in PyTorch. So after that we have this init function which initialized the decoder, and it took 4 parameters. These are the parameters: embed size, hidden size, vocab size, and num layers. Num layer means number of layers, and over here the number of layers we are using is 1. Embed size, this is clear to you now because in encoder also we have used it. So what is the embed size we have used in encoder? So 256. So here this embed size value will be 256. So this is basically, this we are getting from the encoder. The output of the encoder will become the input to the decoder. So that output of encoder we are providing over here, and this is becoming an input to this encoder. Okay, so the value for this will be 256. Then we have a hidden size. So what is hidden size? Hidden size of the LSTM. And then we have a vocab size, vocabulary size. So guys, just a few minutes back only I have shown you, while if we set the threshold, vocab threshold value 5, then we got the vocabulary, and when we set the threshold value to 4, we got the vocab size, different vocab size. So that vocab size we will provide over here, and the number of layers here I have written 1. Okay, so these are the 4 parameters it needed. After this init function, we have this forward function. Now let's understand that. Forward method define how the data flow through the decoder during training. So, and you can see here the features. So these are the feature tensors from the CNN encoder, and the shape of this feature tensor will be this: batch size and embed size. Okay, so embed size is 256. So batch size, here you will get a batch size. And the next thing is this caption. This would be the shape of it, batch size and the caption length. Caption length will be the maximum length of the caption. While showing you the data set, I have shown you that the maximum captions in our data set are of length 10. So that caption length we will define here. Okay, batch size and the caption length. And after that, this function will return us this output. Okay, score of the linear layer. What this forward method is doing, this forward method will take the image features and their corresponding captions as input, and it will produce score for predicting the next word in each caption. Look at this line, embedding is equals to torch.cat. Cat means concatenating, and here we are concatenating the features and the captions. Okay, so how we are doing it, it is concatenating the image features, which is this features, to the beginning of each caption embedding, and this features dot unsqueeze dimension equals to 1. This reshapes the feature tensor to batch size and then embed size. Why we are reshaping it? Because we want it to match the dimension of the caption. Then once the dimensions are same with the caption embedding, we will concatenate both of them. After that, we are passing that concatenated embedding to the LSTM layer here. LSTM out contains the output hidden state for each time step in the sequence, and the shape of it is batch size, caption length, and then the hidden state. Okay, and then the output of this will become the input to the next layer. We are passing the LSTM output to linear layer, and this linear layer maps the LSTM output to the vocabulary space, where each dimension represents the score of a particular word in the vocabulary. So this forward method returns output, which are score of the linear layer for predicting the next word in each caption. So these scores will be used with the loss function, like this cross entropy loss, during training to optimize the model parameters. So this is the code of this decoder. Now let's try to execute this class on a single image and see how it works. So for that, here we are just importing these two lines because we want to load the data set. So this is our data set path. Batch size is this, vocab threshold is 5. This is clear to you now. Vocab from file is true. Remember guys, I've told you that we have created a file with the name of vocab.pickle. You can see that file over here, vocab.pickle. So we will load the vocabulary, means the unique word used in our data set. We will load those words from this file. So that's why this vocab from file is true, batch size is this, embed size is 256. This embed size will be the, we need this parameter in encoder. Okay, these 4 lines we don't want right now. This we will use when we will train the model in some time. Okay, so for now, above parameters we have given these variables, and then we are transforming our training data set. This I have already explained you when I explained you the encoder, so I'm not going through it again. And then we are just loading the training data set, and here we are just printing the size of our vocabulary. So the vocabulary size is this, and here earlier we were just loading the encoder model, but now we are loading the decoder model also, and these are the 3 parameters it need. Embed size, the embed size which we have used over here, the same size you'll use here. This hidden size and vocab size we just got it from here. Okay, so the vocabulary size of our data set, and then we are moving this encoder and decoder to our GPU. And then here you can see the architecture of our this decoder. So we are using embed layer, LSTM layer, and the linear layer. So this embed layer, see, what is this value? This is our vocab size. Remember this vocab size of our data set. 256 is the embed size, which is the output of the encoder, and the output of the encoder, and which becomes the input of the decoder. And after that, this is the LSTM layer, and then we are using this linear layer. Okay, so the output feature would be this much. Why? Because these many unique words we have in our data set. The first layer of decoder is this now. So let's understand the code, let's understand how we will get this output. So the embed size is this, we know. Vocabulary size also we know, and then this is how we call the embedding layer, and we are providing the vocab size, which is this, and embed size, which is this. To it, word index equals to 10. This is the sequence length of a caption. So remember, we have seen that the maximum captions in our dataset are of length 10, so that's why I have written 10 over here. You can change this value and see what kind of values you get. And then this word embedding, what we are doing over here is we are using this embed layer over here. And then for single word, first I'm showing you the shape for single word, and over here I'm showing you this embedding matrix for our whole training data set. So for single word, this will be the output. Okay, 256, because there will be only 256, there will be one embedding vector, and the size of that embedding vector would be 256. But now here I'm showing you the embedding vector for our entire training data set. So we have these many unique different words. So that means for every unique word which is present in our data set, we have a embedding vector, and the size of that embedding vector is 256. So this is how embed layer work. In the same way, you can test this LSTM and linear layer. Now let's train our model. We understood the encoder, decoder in dataset separately. Now we'll combine all that code together and we'll train our model. Okay, so for training a model, I'll give you this Jupyter notebook. So guys, I have given the link in description section, and from there you can get this training and inference Jupyter notebook. So let's train our model first. So I have already performed the training, so I'll explain you the code. So we are importing all the required modules, and then we are providing the path of our data set. I'm just showing you the folders which are there in the Cocoa API folder, right? Annotation folder have all the annotations, and images folder have the training and validation images. So these are the important variables which I have explained to you. And this log file will store the training loss functions and everything, loss values. Okay, and these I will train my model for only for 3 epochs. You can increase this number and you can see what kind of output you get. So I'm getting decent output with the this 3 epochs, so I worked with that only. So these are the transformations we have used. I have explained you this, and why I chose these values, that also I have explained you that we are following this paper, and as per that paper they have used this these particular values, so we have used that. Here we are loading the training data set, and after that here we are getting the vocab size, because we need the vocab size, so we are storing that vocab size in this variable. Then we are calling the encoder and decoder, and encoder variable have the encoder class now, decoder variable have decoder class. Then we are moving these both encoder and decoders to GPU, and then this is our loss function, and after that this is our optimizer. And okay, so this line will help you out in creating the batches. So we are going to have total 4624 steps. So to train the model, this is the code. First we are opening the log file which we have created above for storing the loss. Here, this one. Okay, so we are opening that file in write mode, and after that we are using this loop, and here we are loading the data. We are then retrieving the batch with the sampled indices, and then after that here images and captions, right? We need images and their corresponding captions. Remember, I've told you, whenever you want to train the image captioning model, you need to give a data in a pair. That means you need a image and the corresponding caption. So this is how you are getting a image and the corresponding caption, and we are moving the images to device, which is GPU, and captions to the device, and then over here encoder, and this is our decoder. Encoder, what will be the input to the encoder? These images. And this decoder, what will be the input to decoder? The features, means the output of encoder. The output of encoder we are storing in features. It will become the input to the decoder, and we will also provide the captions. So the input to decoder will be these two things, and the input to encoder will be this. And then we are calculating the loss over here, and then we are updating the weights, and then here this will show you the your training performance. And then we want to save the trained models, and we want to save those trained models in the models folder. And let me show you the models folder now. Okay, wait. So here is the models folder. When you open it, so I have trained the model for 3 epochs, so you will get a decoder 1, decoder 2, decoder 3. In the same way, encoder 1, encoder 2, encoder 3. So this encoder 1 and decoder 1, this you will get after first epoch, okay? And encoder 2, decoder 2 is the trained model after second epoch. In the same way, encoder 3 and decoder 3 is a trained model after third epoch. Okay, so here we have the trained model. Now using this encoder 3 and decoder 3, we will test our model. So if you want to validate your data, then you can use the below script to validate it. Now I'm just showing you how to test it on unseen data set. Okay, so for that we have a notebook with the name of inference. This, let's open this notebook. So importing all the modules first, device, then vocabulary file is this, embed size is this, right? And then we are loading the vocabulary file, right? vocab.pickle file, and then we are storing the vocabulary size in this. We are importing the encoder and decoder. We are loading the trained encoder and decoder model like this. So this is how you load the PyTorch trained models. So we want to load the encoder and the decoder model both, right? So we are loading them, and then this is the image on which we want to perform the testing. So this image I have shown you earlier also. Let me open that image again. So this is the image we want to create caption for. Okay, so Now guys, the image on which you want to perform that testing, make sure to perform all the pre-processing steps on this image also. Transformations which you have done for your training dataset, all those transformations you need to do for your test dataset also. So this is what we are doing over here, and after that we are sending our image to device also, and here we are using the encoder model to get the features, and features are stored in this variable. Then we are using the decoder model. So guys, see here, while testing we are only providing these features, because while we were training, at the time of training we were providing features and captions to the decoder, but while testing we are only providing features to the decoder model, and decoder model will provide us the captions, right? So this is just to clean the output, and then you will see the image and the generated caption. So see, this is the image and this is the generated caption, a group of people sitting around a table. This is how you can create your image captioning project. I have given the link in description section. You can try this code, and I hope this video is helpful. So guys, if you like my work, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.